Can you guys see my screen? Start now. Can you guys see my screen? Yes, you can see it? Let's go.
There. Now
Let's
we're going
go.
northbound on this. You see this driver going the wrong way down Central Avenue in Watts and now back on the right side of the road, continuing southbound.
I had to start this
it
way
looks like
instead
the
of the other way.
the driver's side window is now rolled up. I don't remember if this side of the window was rolled down earlier or if it was just those windows on the right side. But we're continuing this erratic driving. Coming up on, let's see, it looks like we're still on Central Avenue, and he's in that left turn lane. This might be a red light, running a red light, doing a right turn. Now continuing on 114th Street. A lot of traffic building in the area. It's approaching rush hour now, but we're still kind of doing these circles in the area. And you can see there those right side windows, both the right side passenger and the rear passenger, they have their windows down, so they're just kind of enjoying this joyride, it seems, as we continue doing
it's the guy in the helicopter.
almost circles around the Watts and South LA area. And we're going to try and move Air 7 HD a little closer to this vehicle as it maneuvers through LAX airspace, but we will continue to keep an eye on this.
Wow.
No, they cover this like a sport.
We don't want to see on surface streets driving erratically like that, and especially
guys, for those of you who are not watching Silence's stream right now, we are sitting right next to him.
We've already seen it. There's so many people.
But yes, Charles, I figured it out.
Down here.
We're live.
There's some trash bins in the roadway there. He hit one of the trash bins. Luckily, he didn't hit that other vehicle. And you can see there now some LAPD vehicles are possibly returning, at least making their presence known. I haven't heard if they're actively switching back into an active pursuit mode. They are keeping a bit of distance right now, hopefully to at least slow down some of the erratic driving that we've seen from this driver. But that even going into a following or tracking mode, as LAPD calls it, doesn't seem to be altering the behavior of this driver any as we continue. Looks like going southbound on Avalon as we continue this pursuit.
Gabe, from your information, the damage on this car could possibly have happened as a result of this pursuit, or at least the beginning of this pursuit?
We did hear that the vehicle was possibly in an accident earlier in this pursuit,
the car looks
but we don't believe that was from a pit or anything of that nature. We heard LAPD ask permission to pit earlier in this pursuit. They also asked permission for spike strips, both of which were denied earlier. And you can see there are a number of LAPD units. It looks like 5 LAPD units are continuing to keep a close distance, or at least keep a good distance on this vehicle to keep an eye on where he is, but not...
Oh shit, somebody subbed to fuck my shit up. No.
Eye on this and making sure they don't lose eyes on him.
Who's up? Thank you. Kenny, thank you.
On the driver. Now as we go eastbound on 105th Street.
When that happens, I just need
signs
to
out the window. That's what that looked like. The guy in the back seat was flashing some sort of a sign when they took that turn.
You're right, David.
So we know, this is what we know. At least 3 people are in the car. It's being called a stolen vehicle pursuit, but there's also concern that they believe that at least one of these guys could be armed. So it's a dangerous situation, not just because of their driving, but what's going to happen when we come to an end to this pursuit, which it will end eventually. And
it will end eventually, he said.
Through all these narrow places in the neighborhood.
Whoa, he hit that.
Looks like an ice cream truck or a food truck there.
I thought it was a
making
bus.
Contact with that car, continuing westbound on 106.
It sure looked like that. We just see him plow right through all of those stop signs back and forth. Perhaps they'll be able to put a spike strip out if they continue circling in that area.
You guys want to walk?
Well, Gabe said they've been denied at first. I'm not sure, what the contemplation is when it comes to spike strips and pit maneuvers. Although they are circling a lot, maybe eventually they do decide to do a spike strip on this guy, because it is so dangerous, and they got to slow this guy down, especially when he goes on the wrong side of the road.
Stolen Hyundai 2 days in a row?
Yeah,
there you go. See, flashing. He's flashing
we saw
the signs.
those signs.
They need to enjoy this last joyride before they... Wow.
And it looks
Wow, what
almost
an
as if
asshole.
the passenger in the front seat is laughing. He was on the phone earlier. They're definitely enjoying their 15 minutes of fame as they drive completely
loud.
dangerously. Looks like making
It's
a
so loud.
right
Look at
turn
how fucked
eastbound
up the car
on
is.
Century. As you said,
There's
David,
3 of them in
there's
there at least.
one of the passengers looking up at us in the helicopter. They have to be aware of us down
Meta.
here. We did hear the LAPD helicopter actually ask units on the ground to back off a little bit to hopefully relieve some of the pressure on this driver. And as far as spike strips are concerned, the driver is circling the same general area, but not staying on the same exact road. So it's still kind of hard to predict exactly where this driver will go and where he'll turn, making a left turn now on Clovis. We've been on Clovis before, so he's definitely hitting the same streets, probably staying in an area that he's familiar with.
Yeah, but not a specific pattern, so it's hard to predict.
Exactly, yeah.
Okay.
Continuing northbound now on Clovis.
All right, at least this street is a little bit more wide open.
Yes.
What was that, David?
At least this street is a little bit more wide open. It's not a tough squeeze, and there's some space for them to move.
Exactly.
You don't know what the end goal is here and what way that they eventually decide to do, but not sure if law enforcement will let these guys go, considering what they know now.
Yeah, one of the little bit more open streets in the area as we make kind of an aggressive left turn there, going the wrong way, possibly making contact with an SUV there. Now on the right side of the road, looks like going westbound on 92nd Street. Some of the roads in this area do provide for a little bit of safer traversing, although at these speeds with this erratic behavior, you can see they're using the center median to drive around traffic. Any of this driving is unsafe at this speed and at this magnitude. It looks like we're making a northbound turn on McKinley, left turn on 91st Street, staying in these residential areas. Like you noticed, some of these residential streets are a little more open and a little more easier to for this suspect to kind of fly through. You can see there some pedestrians there are in these roads, and as we said, it's close to rush hour. School let out an hour or so ago, a couple hours ago, so you see possibly young people in the street as we go, looks like an eastbound turn on Avalon now, still driving at a high rate of speed and still swerving around other vehicles as these looks like 3 suspects in a Hyundai continue their joyride through South LA. Continuing on 89th Street now, westbound. And LAPD still considering this a tracking mode situation right now. They have their LAPD helicopter overhead, but they're keeping the units on the ground, keeping them at a distance.
Yeah, 2 days in a row I've done
So
these
they have a lot of
chases
units
in
the area.
scenarios.
Once they kind of see the pattern of,
But hey, if it looks good,
of a
then it's
suspect
good.
staying in the same general area, they'll start to position units
If it looks good, then it's good.
in various parts of the area. So if the suspect were to foot bail, if they were to get out and run,
I had to
it's
go
not
live
just
twice
the
to somehow
pursuing units
make
in
it
the
work.
that are actually following.
The prison map has
We'll
changed.
have to deal with
Now
that. They
I
have
know.
other units that can kind of merge in and start to help out with a apprehension of these suspects. Looks like
Looks and sounds
that
good.
vehicle
All right.
almost got some
Let's
air
go.
there as we continue
Can
at
I move this chat?
a high rate of
No.
speed on 88th Street. Westbound.
I can't see the chat very
coming
well.
up on another intersection here. It looks like it's a red light. There's some oncoming traffic there. That suspect very smartly slows down, looking and makes a right turn there, northbound on Main Street. And we've been on this street before. We're going to see what this suspect does. Hopefully there's not too much traffic on this street that this suspect has to deal with. And we're going to move Air 7 around to see if we can find out where the suspect turns after that.
Yeah, keep in mind at home, if you have friends or loved ones that live in this general area, to tell everybody lock their doors, because we don't know, some of these times they come out of the car and try to carjack somebody else's car or run into some neighborhood. But just, again, driving this so erratically and dangerously is a scary, one of those pursuits that make your palms sweat when you watch it.
Yeah, we've seen this before where it's so erratic and so dangerous, you think for sure it's going to get in an accident, but a lot of times it will end surprisingly, but you definitely do not want something tragic to happen at the end of this pursuit. They clearly are not taking their behavior seriously, and you just hope we get lucky here and somehow this comes to an end without anybody getting hurt.
Especially with these narrow streets.
I'm just aghast right now at how relaxed the driver and the suspect looks. You can see the driver with just one hand on the steering wheel earlier, just going for afternoon joyride like any other. As we approach some other oncoming traffic there, some cross traffic coming the other way, going westbound on San Pedro Street now. And you can see there's the driver, there's the passenger. The passenger kind of making some gestures there, making a sharp right turn now on 89th Street. And from the damage to this vehicle, you can see that this driver doesn't care about damaging the vehicle and continuing on, because this vehicle's been in accidents before. We've seen him hit other things, possibly hit other vehicles. It's hard to tell because those things happen so fast. But as we go through these neighborhoods that are possibly a little bit narrow, you have to wonder if this suspect is going to hit anything or how this will end.
Right.
And we still don't know for sure if there is a fourth person in this vehicle. The windows are tinted, so it's tough to look in. And they've been up the whole time on the driver's side of the vehicle. The passenger side, they've been down. And it's very clear that there are at least 3 people. We don't know if that fourth person is there.
Yeah, we've only been able to confirm the 3 people in the vehicle. The LAPD units and the air unit have only been able to confirm 3 people as well, because, as you said, those windows are tinted. And that's something that LAPD, as we run through a stop sign there at 89th and Wadsworth, that's something that LAPD often has to deal with when pulling suspects over or performing traffic stops, is those tinted windows. Now we're making a right turn on Central again, so we're staying on these streets kind of between 85th and 95th, Central, Main, San Pedro, staying on all those general streets. This one looks a little bit of a wider street that this suspect can continue on, but it almost seems to me that this guy's maybe slowing down a little bit, and then just as I say that, he speeds up and continues westbound on Hooper, not really caring about where the lanes are, and a lot of traffic there waiting for the light, and this suspect makes a left turn there on 92nd with cross traffic coming. Just a very dangerous situation here in South LA.
Yeah, we've seen quite a few pedestrians and pretty close calls with pedestrians walking these streets, the residential streets, and that's when you really get nervous when you watch a pursuit like this.
And you wonder if the excitement is going to eventually wear off of these guys. It almost get that sense they're very excited at the beginning, and they seem to be kind of mellowing out a little bit, and now they got to think about how are they going to get out of this situation.
Yeah, exactly, and we understand that they are possibly armed, and this car is reportedly stolen, so they know they're in deep trouble.
Okay.
Yeah, they do, and they are dealing with some traffic here as this white Jeep and some other vehicles, I'm not sure what they're waiting for.
They don't have
It's
patience,
a stop
man.
lane
They
up
don't wanna
ahead,
stop.
and it looks like this suspect may have come to a stop here. Possibly maybe deciding, it looks like that rear passenger may have saw us up here in the helicopter, so they know that they are still being pursued. There's no way in my mind that they don't know that, but they don't see the officers behind them. So now you have to wonder what's going through these suspects' mind as far as what you were saying, David, that you know they're kind of getting past the initial excitement of this and are looking to kind of mellow out now and find a way out of this situation as we continue. Looks like northbound now on Parmalee, approaching 96th Street. We're making a left turn westbound on 96th Street now, and we're just kind of staying in the same general area.
Certainly behaving like they're being pursued, so I think they know something's up and they need to get away, or at least try to.
Yeah, they are still in the mindset of getting away. They're not coming to a complete stop, and they're not giving up. We saw them stuck in that traffic earlier, and they just kind of waited it out, just kind of saw that the officers weren't immediately behind them, and waited for that traffic to move and carry on as we continue on Firth Boulevard, leaving 92nd Street, still at a high rate of speed, still driving dangerously around oncoming traffic and passing other vehicles as we make a right turn now, going, looks like southbound. We'll get that cross street for you shortly.
They rolled all the windows up now, too.
Yeah, that's a good point. The windows there on the right side are all rolled up, so this might play into what we were thinking is happening here, where it's kind of a changing mindset as far as these pursuit suspects are concerned. They're getting past the kind of, giddiness of initially trying to get away. Now picking up speed here a little bit, using that center median, using that left turn lane. All of a sudden we're at 60 miles an hour on surface streets, going around some of these other vehicles that are stuck in traffic. It looks like he might be stopped at that light there, not at the light, but in the intersection, continuing through in the center median.
Yeah, window roll down again in the back seat there.
Yep. the windows rolled down again. So it's just very peculiar, the behavior of these passengers and kind of what their purpose and point is here, what they're trying to prove. That's something we always ask, and what we always wonder in these pursuit situations is why do they do it? As we see a bicyclist in the middle of the roadway there, this looks like another road that's a little bit wider, that this suspect is kind of finding ways to move around a little less dangerously than earlier. But it looks like Laurel Street 92nd now is where we're at. We're slowing down a little bit, possibly making a right turn, and no, not doing a right turn. Continuing through the intersection now, approaching on Alameda now, moving around some other traffic there, and at this point, it's just a joyride for these suspects, and they are going to drive until they can no longer, it seems like. So we're going to start listening to see what LAPD does as far as possibly trying to bring this thing to an end through other means, whether they actually try and re-engage the pursuit, or whether they completely back off and see if they can deal with these suspects later, which we have seen LAPD do. It's just a matter of time now to figure out how LAPD decides to handle this situation.
Do you see any LAPD vehicles, or they've completely pulled back?
We do have the air unit overhead, but I haven't seen any ground units in quite some time. There's the air unit there as it flies through the shot. I'm being told now that excuse me. I'm being told now that no ground units. Oh, and there we go.
They're running.
There's one foot bail. There's two. There's three. There's the three suspects that we thought were in the vehicle, and three of them exit the vehicle. So as we were just saying, there were no
it looks like they have a
ground
place
units
they're
right behind this suspect, but we do know they're in the area. So we're going to wait and see how fast or how long it takes for those LAPD units on the ground to move in and at least locate these suspects and take them into custody. It looks like one of them's either holding his hoodie, possibly on the phone there. I'm not sure what.
Regular joggers.
This one was the driver, we're being told. So we're going to stay with this driver and see where that driver ends up, because that's the one that LAPD is going to be most
they stole this
interested in.
vehicle.
Although more than likely they're going to take all three of these suspects into custody. We're near Willow Place and Long Beach Boulevard. We're seeing if these suspects pop out on the other side of this building. They're possibly in the alleyway, and the LAPD air unit is calling ground units on the ground to this scene to hopefully take these three suspects into custody.
Hopefully they'll stay together, because it'll be that much easier for LAPD to get all three if they just remain together like they are. And clearly there's somewhere in that alley, unless they happen to weigh in and they know something about that apartment, and they're able to get through a window or something like that. A blind spot for us, and maybe that's part of their tactics here, but they are behind that taller building right now in what appears to be either a backyard or an alley. We don't know if they're outside or worked their way in. But they are back there somewhere, and I guess, Gabe, you just got to sit here and wait this out.
Yeah, and just to give you an idea, David, of what we're dealing with, we're in the LAX airspace, and so we have a little bit of limited capability of movement as far as staying where we are right now. And we didn't see which door they went into, but LAPD, the air unit, is calling out units to this location, and they believe possibly that the suspect went inside one of the buildings here. So we're going to at least keep monitoring the LAPD frequencies as we see some residents come out of their homes wondering what's going on. And that's kind of a dangerous situation here, because you don't know where exactly these suspects are or if they're armed. So not a good idea to come out of your home. Hopefully they go back inside their home, and if LAPD units show up shortly here, they'll be able to tell those residents to do just that. But we're trying to move Air 7 around now. We just got permission to move on the west side of the building here to hopefully see what's going on in that alleyway. Although judging from how these residents are reacting, it doesn't appear that anyone is in that alleyway anymore. So we're going to keep on working with LAPD to figure out whether these suspects actually went inside one of those apartment units on the left there, or whether they hopped the fence there on the right.
Right. So it could have been
and
one
I mean,
of those
they must know where they're at, right?
Now,
like they intended to go to this place.
Connected to the same structure.
I don't think they intended that all along.
Like mirror images
but
of
at
each
some
other.
point,
So
they figured that this is where they wanted to go.
Right? Did they go down that sidewalk
and
that
who
looked
the
like
fuck
an alley,
knows why?
or is it on the far side where
Why
you see
do
that
they
black
pick this
cat?
place?
It looked like they went down where that black cat was, where
right
these
there.
residents are, and we're hearing from the LAPD unit talking on one of the common air frequencies here that they are working on the assumption that the suspects possibly went inside this building, and as they continue to get ground units on the scene here, we're gathering further information.
Okay.
All right. This is Giovanna Lara joining David here on the desk now. And so we saw all three suspects run out of that vehicle, but only two suspects, we understand, are in that building, potentially?
No, I think we all three of
Did
them.
all three go in?
All three,
Yeah,
we'll eventually have the replay for you. So they're
Replay
working on
Andy.
that right now, so we can actually watch them. Watch your right-hand side. That's all recorded, and it shows how dangerous they were when it comes to going through traffic. Three
I'm gonna go over
suspects
there
are
and use
in
this
that vehicle with, you know, not just the car was erratic, but their own behavior was
I'm gonna
erratic.
mute it.
Flashing signs, taking selfies, laughing, etc. But then eventually they did all jump out of the vehicle,
They were
run
laughing
down
and
about a
taking
block and a
selfies?
half, took a right. We're trying to figure out
Epic. If you're
exactly
gonna do this,
what the
man,
path was, but it has something
do
to
it
do with
upright.
that pink building right there in the middle. What we're trying to
Oh, what?
on the top of
Did
your
someone
screen,
sub?
the pink one, or the taller building down below. One of those two,
Okay, so
because
hold
we
on.
did not see them come
I
out
gotta mute for
on
a
the
minute.
left-hand side. But we'll rack that
So-
up for you. Here we go. This is going to be the foot bail. So watch. They're going to jump out of the the right here.
Seen a whole replay
That's
of
one
it.
of the three. There's the second one. That was the backseat guy in the red.
The backseat
red
guy.
shorts is the driver.
Okay, I
So
guess I'm gonna
all
stick
three
with
of
this
them,
for
you'll
another
notice they
minute.
don't separate,
Now that the
they
cops are
stay
there.
together. And
Well, real
that
quick,
is a
I'm gonna
good
go in
thing,
this bathroom, so I'm
because they're
gonna
not
mute
spread out all over the neighborhood.
my
They're
microphone.
all going.
Okay, I don't know what's going on, but I'm gonna end the stream. Okay, however that's done, I'm gonna do it. Okay, see you everybody, thank you.